Today, Syracuse got its first test away from the JMA Dome, taking a trip down to Philly for an autumn invitational against Drexel. The Dragons came out fiery, but in the second half, it was the Orange who brought the juice, running away with an 80-50 victory and staying undefeated. We have the highlights, the breakdown, and so much more. Don't go anywhere. Your Syracuse basketball coverage continues. Orange Press Pass starts right now. Welcome into our CitrusTV studio for Orange Press Pass alongside Jared Valentin and Milo Hoffman. I'm Avin. Thanks for staying with us after an exciting Syracuse basketball victory down in Philadelphia. A 30-point win, guys. Syracuse has been holding their opponents to 44 points per game. I mean, the intensity they've brought so far has been phenomenal. But Milo, your first thoughts for this one?
Unbelievable you talk about it. The best defense in the nation. I would have never guessed that. But listen, Jared, SU handled business, right? Just like they did against Binghamton, just like they did against Delaware State. Drexel's not a team that really should challenge Syracuse. It got a little bit shaky in the first half, but then the Cuse really took control in the second half. That's how it should have been the entire game, so it was good to see the bookend of the contest went SU's way.
Yeah, Syracuse got off to a little rough start at times in that first half, but the second half really did a good job. But Milo, this team has been dominant on the defensive end, and the defense continues to shine. 6 steals in the first half. Drexel only had 1, ended with 9 steals, and that's the lowest total that Syracuse has had in a game this season because they've been so good on defense. The defense continues to shine, and there was no difference tonight on the road against Drexel.
Can't speak enough about what this team has done, so let's show you the highlights. You can see exactly what it is that the Orange have done over the course of their first 3 games, including tonight against the Dragons. And it was early on a Donnie Freeman steal. Kyan Anthony, number 7, the son of Carmelo, takes it all the way down for the score. He finished with the most points for Syracuse today, hits the deep 3 from the left wing with his dad watching in the audience, continues to pile on the points. This was a little bit of a scary moment in the first half. Kyan Anthony, although he got the Orange offense exciting, one of the other exciting players, the transfer Tyler Betsy, exits the game with a lower body injury. Coach Autry expects him to make a recovery, but they'll know more within the week. You see Carmelo cheering on the Orange to try and get that spark back as Drexel continues to put it on and try and fight in that first half, much closer than I think a lot of people probably expected, guys. Nate George at the end of the half putting in the bucket there. Syracuse up 37-32 at the break. And this is what we talked about in the first half. The offense was rolling, but the defense was slacking a little bit, especially in the rebounding. But coming into the second half, Syracuse completely slammed the door. Stop after stop after stop, Milo. We talked about those kills, which we're going to get into later in the show. But oh boy, did Syracuse put on a performance.
I mean, I think we were making louder noises than I've ever heard here inside the studio when talking about the blocks. My goodness, look at that. Unbelievable. Syracuse may not have the height that, a normal 5-man should have, but the athleticism like William Kyle just jumps off the page.
Adam, you mentioned the kills. Syracuse had 6 of them in the second half, did a complete 180 on the defensive end. Also even up the rebounding discrepancy as well.
I mean, those blocks were so exciting. The dunk here by Donnie Freeman on the rebound. Syracuse tried to get back into the rebounding battle with those blocks and the intensity they brought on defense, securing those boards, and then going back on the offensive end and doing what they've been doing all season long. That's Nate George with the 3 there. Essentially the nail in the coffin, which meant the walk-ons were getting in the game. That's Noah Loudell at the end. Syracuse with an 80-50 victory down in Philadelphia. An exciting win for Coach Autry in his 3rd year as head coach, the 3rd game for Syracuse this season. But guys, it was the Kyan Anthony and Donnie Freeman show, Milo, an 80-point performance.
Yeah, you look at Donnie Freeman's stats right there. Even in a game where he didn't necessarily shoot incredibly well, 4 for 11, his impact was still there, 13 points. 3 rebounds. You'd probably like that to be a little bit higher for Donnie Freeman, standing close to 7 feet. But overall, Kyan Anthony continues to impress. It's been unbelievable what he's done so far with SU.
Yeah, Kyan has been great. He did a great job today of getting into the lane and getting crafty down inside the paint. And look at the defense. I talked about it earlier. The 3rd straight game that Syracuse has held its opponent to 50 points or fewer. Adam, that hasn't happened in over 40 years. Syracuse off to a great start on the defensive end.
Coach Autry's crew finally in that time where they're breaking records and things seem to they're really going right. Well, things are going to get a lot better for our show right now because our reporter, AJ Meyers, is live with us from Xfinity Mobile Arena. AJ, thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it. The story that we've been talking about, I'm sure everybody on Media Row was talking about as well, was Kyan Anthony, the son of Milo, with an 18-point performance tonight. How impactful has his play been so far this season, and especially tonight against Drexel?
Yeah, Adam, it was another great display from Kyan Anthony today, and I spoke to him after the game, and he says a big thing for him is being aggressive early on, and you saw that right away. He's getting to the cup. He's doing those pretty step backs inside the paint. Everything is going really well right now for Kyan Anthony, and of course, his dad was here. They got a big round of applause when he walked out. So it's kind of a cool mojo thing, I think, that's going on right now for Syracuse with Kyan and Carmelo being at every game so far. It's something certainly this team didn't have last year, and I think I speak for everyone. I don't think anyone really expected Kyan to be this good so early on, but once again, another really impressive display against Drexel.
AJ, thank you so much for joining us to talk about people not expecting Kyan to be this good. Maybe some people expected Nate Kings to be a little bit better. He struggled on and off this season. The shots weren't necessarily falling again today. I'm curious what you thought about Nate Kings' performance against Drexel.
Yeah, so Milo, I spoke to Nate Kings after the game, and he was really honest with me. He said, yeah, usually I'm hitting these kind of shots. It's not quite working for him just yet, but he's doing well in the offense. When he's running up and down the floor and he's in the offense, he's getting shots up. I think it's only a matter of time. It's when those three-pointers start falling down, because that's what he did against Oregon State. He was a really good three-point shooter. I think it's going to happen for him. It's just early on. He's still getting adjusted, but he doesn't seem too frazzled. I think he still has plenty of confidence in himself. Just from talking with him, he seems to be okay. I think he knows things are going to get on track for him, and if they do, that's just another addition to an already really good Syracuse offense.
AJ, kills have been the point of emphasis this year on the defensive end for Syracuse. SU had just 1 in the first half and then 6 in the second. What was the shift that you noticed defensively?
Yep, Jared, you hit the nail on the head. Those kills. So I spoke to a few players after the game, and they said right when they went to the halftime locker room, Coach Autry said, hey guys, we're lacking in kills. No kills so far. Second half, they get those kills. Another really interesting thing that Coach Autry told us after the game, it's something called the juicing station. What is the juicing station? It's the bench, and it's headlined by none other than Noah Lobdell. He's controlling this juicing station. That's what Coach Autry's calling it, and he's really emphasizing that his bench be that Energizer bunny for this team, making sure that they have the energy on the defensive end. Coach Autry was not happy with the juicing station in the first half. Second half, he liked it a lot better. So that's something, a storyline that's definitely going to be interesting to see how that plays out through the rest of the season. But guys, the switch from last year to this year cannot be emphasized enough. Whether it's on the offensive end or the defensive end, it really just seems like an entirely different team, and it seems like an entirely different coaching style from Adrian Autry too. Whether it's this juicing station thing he's got going on the bench or just the way he's analytically looking at the game, a lot has really changed for Syracuse from last year, and 3 games in, it looks really promising.
AJ, you've covered a lot of games for us, and because of that, I got to ask you this question, which I find incredibly fascinating. Over there in Philly at Xfinity Mobile, that's your home arena. You've had the food here, you've had now food there, I'm assuming. What was it today, and was it good?
Oh, the food was great, Adam. I was really impressed. They had some sandwiches for us. They also had a really good chocolate chip cookie. It was a soft chocolate chip cookie, which I'm kind of a fan of. I don't like a super crunchy chocolate chip cookie, so that was really good. They had a soft serve vending machine, but it didn't work. So that was a little disappointing, but Xfinity Mobile Arena, I've been here quite a few times. It got 10 out of 10 stars for me today.
All right, well, they got to step up their game, because if I'm sitting in an arena and I'm watching a good basketball game, the food is equally as important. Right, Jared?
This is an NBA arena.
It's an NBA
We can't
arena.
have a broken
Step up your
team.
game, Sixers. All right, AJ, thanks so much for joining us, my friend. We appreciate it. All right, guys, we will be right back on Orange Press Pass, continuing to break down this matchup between Drexel and Syracuse. Stay with us. We got you covered with more highlights, the top plays, continue to break down this matchup between the Dragons and the Orange. Jared Valentin, Milo Hoffman, I'm Avin. Thanks for staying with us, everybody. We appreciate it. Guys, Syracuse comes away with another dominant performance in their third game of the season. We also have to take a look around the hill at some of the other sports on campus and things that are going on with Syracuse athletics, because although basketball has been this dominant, guys, some of the other teams that our students have, they get to pay attention to some really fun matchups as well.
I really thought Syracuse men's soccer was going to make a push to go to the ACC championship game, but SMU had other plans. And SMU really just controlled the pace of that entire game. But really a good job by Ian McIntyre's squad this season to make such a late push. Right. And listen, it's not necessarily over just yet. An at-large bid into the big dance is still possible, but Syracuse really got destroyed against the Mustangs.
And Jared, if I'm not mistaken, you're the women's ice hockey beat reporter. What's going on with the Orange there?
That's right. I'm going to take off my Orange Press Pass analyst hat and put on my women's ice hockey beat reporter hat. Syracuse got demolished, swept in this series on the road, 11-2 the final. You see it on the screen. And in this one, Syracuse just struggled to get power plays, went 1 for 7. They struggled to capitalize on power plays. Went 1 for 7, had 7 against one of the best offenses in the country, but just couldn't strike when you had the player-up advantage on the ice. That's been a struggle for Syracuse all season long. It continued against another really good Penn State team, and Syracuse yet to earn a ranked win this season.
All right, I love the hockey talk, but this is a basketball show. Let's take a look around the NCAA and some of the games that are happening around the country. Houston and Auburn, that's an exciting matchup there. BYU, UConn, we have a lot of ranked teams playing today. A couple of the finishes, though, so far. Louisville with an absolute 25 dominant performance win over Ohio.
Yeah, Louisville, really impressive so far this season. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with. Kansas taking care of Princeton. Of course, Syracuse has Kansas coming up on the docket, ranked at number 25. A nice dominant win over Princeton. It's going to be a challenge for the Cuse coming up.
You know who Syracuse also has on the docket coming up, Milo?
Oh, yeah.
Houston. My eyes go to the bottom right of the screen, taking on number 22 Auburn. The first ranked test of Houston so far this season, and it's a team that Syracuse is going to play in a couple weeks. So interesting to see how Houston gets the job done tonight.
Right, there are some non-conference teams that if you're a Syracuse fan, you got to pay attention to see how the Orange might fare against some of those opponents in Vegas, which we're going to get to later in the show. But guys, AJ talked about it a little bit earlier. This team is different right now. Last year at the beginning of the season against non-conference teams like Youngstown State going to double overtime, that Lemoyne game, which was very close last year. So far this year, Syracuse has been aggressive and has brought a different level of intensity, Milo, that frankly this team has not seen under Adrian Autry.
And that's what comes with playing with, the aggression, like you've been talking about. That's what changes cultures, right, in basketball. It's all about the aggression. It's all about the on-ball defense, and that's exactly what Syracuse has been doing. Maybe they don't have the height, but they have the athleticism, like I already said. Nate George, the point guard coming over from Georgia Tech, sure, he's great at passing the ball, but he also has such good on-ball defense, and it's little things like that to force the turnovers, to force the havoc on other teams. I mean, look, Drexel is just struggling to make it past the timeline here, bringing the ball up in their own state of Pennsylvania. Of course, maybe not a home game, but Syracuse brought the intensity from the Cuse over a couple miles down. It's just been really impressive.
Yeah, the difference between last year and this year is night and day. I mean, you saw it in the highlights just now. Syracuse was being aggressive, getting into those passing lanes, getting those steals, turning defense into offense, and in particular in the first half, had really good closeouts on the three-point shots that Drexel was getting off. Struggled to hit three-pointers. Syracuse was getting back in time, closing out, really good defense, and all of that is because of this aggressive culture that Adrian Autry has implemented this year.
I mean, just 18 points allowed in the second half. Are you kidding me? That's going to do it. I already said it was scary in the first half, but the Cuse really showed that they could bounce back in the second.
Right, the intensity can lead to good things on both sides of the ball. But there are always going to be some things that need a little bit of cleaning up. Despite a lot of things working for the Orange guys, Jared, rebounding has been an issue, and you saw it again in this game, a large first half discrepancy. But this is something that the team needs to continue to get better at when you face maybe taller opponents like in Vegas against Houston.
Absolutely. Syracuse was doing a good job defensively in terms of closeouts, but the last part of defense, Milo, is getting the rebound. And Syracuse wasn't boxing out at all in that first half, was out-rebounded 19-9 in the first half. Drexel was getting a lot of easy buckets inside the paint, and a lot of that came off of second chance points, getting their offensive rebounds and getting that to drop as well. Syracuse has got to clean it up on the glass going forward.
SU was out-rebounded 19-9 in the first half, so, they cut it to within 3 three at the end of the game. The difference between the first half and the second half in this ballgame just continues to show up. But yes, the rebounding needs to be better for the Cuse. You should be out rebounding a team like Drexel. And today that just wasn't the case. They did make it a whole lot better after the halftime break. But listen, we know you don't have the height. We know you maybe don't have that mainstay center, but you still gotta be rebounding because that's what wins games at the end of the day.
Milo, me and you were talking about this a little bit,
Yeah.
how William Kyle, despite him not being the tallest guy, has so much athleticism. He's jumping up over everybody to get those
He plays
boards.
way above his size.
Right, but if he's the only one down there trying to get those rebounds and nobody else is boxing out, which we saw a few times and led to that disparity in the first half for Syracuse, it needs to be cleaned up. He can't do it all by himself, despite how phenomenal he's been in terms of rebounding. But we also saw some blocks from him in our highlights earlier.
Yeah.
And the defense has been pretty good, with rebounding being the one exception. A lot of that has to do with William Kyle. But a new thing that Adrian Autry has implemented this year has been the kills. And Milo, I know you know a little bit about that. If Syracuse can get 3 stops in a row, that's a kill, right?
Yes.
So Syracuse, William Kyle plays a big part in that. That's something that they want to try and keep going and has been a big part of what they've been trying to do on defense so far this year.
Exactly. It's 3 stops. If you do that 7 times, then supposedly, Jared, you have a 95% chance at winning the game.
I love those odds.
I'll take that recipe any
Absolutely.
day of the week. But listen, other than just the kills, this advanced statistic, it's not necessarily a stat that is hard to keep track of, but it's a stat that builds culture. You had 12 kills against Binghamton, 13 against Delaware State. I feel like I'm talking about a video game right here, but no, this is basketball. Just 7 against Drexel. But listen, they got that 7 thresh mark, and you have a 95% chance of winning. And what they do? They took home the victory.
Yeah, you mentioned the culture earlier, and implementing this kill stat into the team focus as well has really just motivated Syracuse to just be so aggressive on defense and have this sense of urgency that Syracuse really hasn't had, especially last year. Matthew Cleveland, when SU played Miami last year, Milo, dropped 32 points. Miami was the worst team in the conference, and he went off against Syracuse. You haven't seen that a ton this year, by and large, because Syracuse hasn't been playing, those ACC caliber teams, but the mindset and the aggression that this team has had on defense has been apparent. I talked about the closeouts earlier and the 3-point shots that Drexel was getting off. They've been getting through the passing lanes, going into transition offense from getting good steals. This team has played with such an aggressive mindset on defense. They want to earn those kills. They want to get those stops, and they take pride in that this season, and you can see that on the court, especially tonight.
Okay, well, through 3 dominant wins, there are still some things that need to be cleaned up and are uncertain, but there is one sure thing that Syracuse fans can feel confident in right now. And he's our Orange Press Pass player of the game, Kyan Anthony. He dropped 18 points. That's 3 straight double-digit point games, and did it while shooting better than 50% from the field. We know the opponents that Syracuse has played, but you cannot understate how impactful his play has been so far this season. And you saw it again today, the intensity, both defensively and offensively. His shot creation, reminiscent of his father, with Milo watching on the sidelines too. The energy that they have brought to the team this year. Guys, Syracuse basketball might be back. There's still a lot of season left to play, but with today's performance, gives Kyan Anthony the coveted OPP player of the game. After the break, has number 7's play secured him a spot in the starting lineup? We take a look into the future, and we'll see you there too. Stay with us.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. You're gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Oh, no. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. Yeah, we're getting so wet. Oh,
All right, more breakdown of Syracuse basketball and Drexel in their 30-point victory. We have Jared Valentin, Milo Hoffman. I'm still Adam Avin. And guys, what a win for today for Syracuse, but there's still a lot we have to talk about, which means we got to take a look into the future. It's time to play some crystal ball. Wow, I feel like I'm in the witch's land.
I know.
That was beautiful. That was spectacular.
It's like some Game of Thrones
That was
action.
spectacular. I think that was made within like the last couple of hours too. Shout out producer Landon Stills. All right, guys, let's take a look into our crystal ball here. I got a couple of prompts for you, some questions, and this is your opportunity to let us know your true feelings about Syracuse basketball right now. We got to start with Kyan Anthony, who is our player of the game. High expectations coming in under his dad's name, but it's been very apparent that I think he's done a little bit more than what Syracuse fans maybe thought originally. So Milo, I'm going to start with you. Even with JJ Starling out in injury right now, if he comes back, should Kyan Anthony still stay in the starting lineup?
Kyan Anthony has been so impressive. He's been more than expected from me by far, honestly, Jared. But no, if JJ Starling comes back, Kyan Anthony goes to the bench. And that's not a bad thing, right? Syracuse needs some players to come off the bench and have the ability to put the ball in the bucket, and Kyan Anthony holds that. So JJ Starling is a staple on this team. Right now he's out injured. I think it's totally fine that Kyan Anthony is in the starting lineup, and he's taken full advantage. But when JJ's back healthy, Kyan should go to the bench, and he should play the role that he was slated to sort of play this entire season before JJ went down with an injury, and that's to just be a spark plug off the bench.
Milo, you have to reward the players who are performing well for you right now, and that's what Kyan Anthony has done. 15 points in his season opener, 19 when he took the starting role over JJ Starling, who left the first game with an injury, and now he drops 18 points today over Drexel. He has been absolutely phenomenal. I want him in the starting lineup going forward, not just when JJ comes back, but even when JJ Starling is back, get him in that starting lineup. I love the five of Nate George, Kyan Anthony, JJ Starling, Donnie Freeman, and William Kyle. That's a great five. Kyan Anthony is performing very well right now, and I want to see him rewarded. Keep him in the starting lineup.
All right, well, guys, regardless of whether Kyan's in the lineup or not, this team seems to be rolling right now.
Yeah.
Jared, second question for you. Look into the crystal ball. How far do you see Syracuse going this year?
Syracuse can make it to the round of 32, and that is a win for this year because Syracuse hasn't made the tournament since 2021. They have yet to do so in the head coach Adrian Autry era, so getting to the tournament at all is a win. And the ceiling, I can see him, like I said, getting to that round of 32, getting one victory in March Madness. I consider that a success this season.
Call me crazy. I'm going to go one more step than you.
Get out of here.
Syracuse is going to be in the Sweet 16.
Come on.
You're going to call me crazy, but listen, Syracuse probably has the best turnaround out of any Power 4 team that I've seen so far this season. The defense has been the name of the game. They lead the nation in scoring defense, and when the Cuse make it into the big dance, they are a team to be reckoned with. They've proved that. I know they haven't been there in a whole bunch of years, but Syracuse is really good in March Madness, and they're going to be good again this season.
All right, whatever our magic crystal ball did to you, I want some of that. Let's continue here on Orange Press Pass as we continue to wrap up shop and talk about this game, what Syracuse has coming up, and our final words. Stay with us.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Almost done talking some Syracuse basketball for this evening. Jared Valentin, Milo Hoffman. I'm Adam Avin as we continue to close up shop here. Guys, Syracuse plays Monmouth on Tuesday, but have a really important and crucial test against Kansas and Houston over Thanksgiving break. You see the stats of these two teams right here, both top 25 right now, and it won't be easy for Syracuse.
I mean, the stark contrast between SU's first 4 games and now you're going to Vegas and you're playing Houston and Kansas. I mean, if SU can keep it close, they might be out to a good season.
Yeah, I mean, look at the schedule that's up ahead for Syracuse. An absolute gauntlet going down to Vegas and playing two of the best teams in the country. That Houston test in particular, going to be great to see if the success that Syracuse has had so far this season continues against the top-ranked team in the country right now.
Well, if Syracuse has any opportunity to make the Sweet 16 or the round of 32, they're going to have to stay competitive against teams like Kansas and Houston. So Milo and Jared, it's time to sound off.
You heard my prediction of SU in the Sweet 16. Now, listen here. The struggles for Syracuse men's basketball over the past couple of years have been well noted, suffering fans, culture in shambles, and now SU is off to a 3-0 start. And the question of Syracuse men's basketball being back is fair to ask, but I want you to follow up with me in 2 weeks, like a nice little email. The Cuse handle Binghamton of the America East with ease, Delaware State of the Mid-Eastern with ease as well, and Drexel, who's in the Coastal Athletic Conference, the same way. And after Monmouth on Tuesday, which should be another easy win for the Orange, SU travels to Vegas and has number 1 Houston and number 20 Kansas on the docket. Now, if SU keeps it close with those two top-tier teams, this could be a special season, and my Sweet 16 prediction might just come true. But if the Cuse get blown out of the water and prove they can't deal with the big boys, this team just is not quite ready.
Milo, I know you want to take a pin, put a pin in it, and circle back to it later after the Houston and Kansas games. But what I can tell you right now is that this team has taken a huge leap defensively. Syracuse has held its first 3 opponents to 50 points or fewer. And guess what? SU hasn't done that in over 40 years. And if you're still not sold, if you say to yourself, well, Syracuse hasn't played great teams, they should be winning comfortably, remember how the Orange did last year. A 4-point victory over Lemoyne, a 2-point win over Colgate, and then a win in double overtime against Youngstown State. Tracking kills this year and building an aggressive culture has paid off dividends. Syracuse has made massive improvements defensively, and the difference between last year and now is night and day.
I don't disagree with you. Get over there. What are you
Sorry.
Too close.
I like that.
I don't blame you. Stay with your analyst.
You're right.
Anyways, yeah, you guys are both absolutely right. I mean, we got to circle back a couple weeks from now to see really what can happen. But if the defense stays how strong it's been, Jared, I mean, there's no denying what this team can do.
Absolutely, and you got 2 big tests coming up against Houston and Kansas in Vegas to further prove yourself and prove that point that this defense is not just temporary, but here to stay for the whole season.
Defense wins championships, right? And SU has been one of the best defensive teams in all of college men's basketball history with Jim Boeheim in his 2-3 zone. It may not be the same now with Adrian Autry, a little bit of a different tone, but SU's up there. They have the best scoring defense in the country. If they can keep that up, the sky's the limit for the Orange.
You know, right before the show today, our social producer, Zach, asked us who is on our Syracuse Mount Rushmore. Yeah. You can go on our CitrusTV Sports Instagram account and TikTok to see that. But he mentioned Carmelo Anthony, some of these other guys who I put in my Mount Rushmore. With the way that Kyan Anthony's played, guys, over these first few games, if he keeps this up, and he's a one and done.
Maybe. It's possible.
Hey, Zach.
It's a possibility.
Kyan Anthony might end up on the Mount Rushmore of Syracuse basketball, but who knows? For Jared Valentin, Milo Hoffman, I'm Adam Avin. For our EP, Gabe, Perrin, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.